Welcome to TeachMeAuto.com. In this video, we're going to show you how to replace the alternator on this 2002 Dodge Grand Caravan Sport.
Now this Dodge Caravan has the 3.3 liter engine. Now in 2002 there were 3 different engines available for this vehicle. Also, just for this engine there were 2 different alternators. There's a 160 amp and a 140 amp. So make sure you get the right alternator for your engine.
That's right, they have a little number on there. You can take that number down, take it to your auto parts store. They'll be able to fix you up. Now we're going to review with you the tools we use to do this job.
The jack, 1 jack stand, and 2 wheel chocks. Here we have our new 160 amp alternator, some plastic fasteners, a 3/8 drive ratchet, a short 3-inch extension. Here we have our 10mm socket, a 13mm socket, and a 15mm socket. Here we have our 15mm socket with a 1/2-inch drive ratchet, a 13mm box end wrench, a 15mm box end wrench, and a 19mm box end wrench. Has some nail nose pliers, a couple of different flathead screwdrivers, some safety glasses, and a shop light. Then we're going to set the emergency brake, put the wheel chocks behind both rear tires. Now while the vehicle is still on the ground, we're going to turn the wheels toward the passenger side. Since we're only jacking up one side of the vehicle, we don't want to turn these once it's up on the jack stands. Now we're going to position our jack. Again, this is on the passenger side. You can refer to your owner's manual for the proper jacking positions. Once you have it raised, we're going to place our jack stands. Remember, never crawl under a vehicle without jack stands supporting it. Also, if you notice, we're having to watch for the AC lines here, so we don't make sure we don't pinch one of them. Now we're going to open the hood, and we're going to use our 10mm socket and our 3/8 ratchet to go ahead and remove the negative battery cable. Now we're going to remove the cover that will expose the front of the engine. Here we're using our 10mm socket and ratchet again. And this is held on by 3 plastic fasteners, which we're going to replace, so do not worry about damaging them. These only cost like $1 from your local auto parts store. Once these are removed, you go ahead and slide the shield out of the way, and you notice that we broke the heads off, so we're going to use our nail nose pliers to go ahead and pull the rest of the fasteners out. Now we're going to use our 19mm or 3/4 wrench to release the tension on the belt tensioner. This is a good idea to have a partner who can remove the belt from the alternator on top once the tension is removed. Now we're going to go ahead and remove this wiring harness out of the way. Again, it has a little fastener. You should be able to stick your screwdriver up on it and pry it out. We're going to go ahead and reuse this one, so be careful not to break it. Now we also need to remove the dipstick tube. This will help us get the alternator out easier and in place. So we're going to use a 13mm socket, extension, and ratchet. This is the 3/8 drive ratchet we're using to remove the bolt. This is the top bolt. We also remove a lower bolt in a second. Now, here's the second bolt. It's kind of hard to get to, so we're going to use our 13mm open-end box end wrench. Now, if you're going to change the oil anyway, it'd probably be easier to go ahead and remove the oil filter and give you better access to it. But since we didn't need to change our oil, we didn't remove the filter. Now we're going to remove the wiring harness from the alternator. Here, there's a small plug on the bottom, so you squeeze on the end of the plug where it goes, where the wires go into it, and then pull it out of the alternator. Just kind of squeeze on the end and it'll release. Now we're going to remove a nut that's holding the harness into place. Now we're using a 13mm socket and ratchet again, this time without an extension. We'll slide this up off of the stud. Again, be careful not to break it. Slide out of the way. Now we're going to go ahead and remove the number 1 spark plug wire. This gives us a little more room, and we're going to pull our dipstick up out of the oil pan, dipstick tube up out of the oil pan. May require a little twisting. And we're not going to pull it all the way out, we're just going to pull it up to where it's a little loose and then kind of push it over to the side. Then we're going to start removing our alternator. Again, we're going to start with using our 15mm box end wrench. If you use a socket, you can actually damage one of the air conditioner lines. Go ahead and remove the bolt. Now we're going to remove 2 bolts from underneath the vehicle. This time we're going to use our 1/2" drive ratchet and our 15mm socket. Then here's a view from the top of us removing the second bolt, but we're still accessing the bolt from under the vehicle. As I said, it's always a good idea to have a partner here, just for an extra set of hands. Once this bolt's removed, the alternator is loose. You'll need to work it out. Just be patient. And it'll slide right out through the top. Now we're going to compare our old alternator and our new one. As you can see, these are pretty much identical. Go ahead and remove the tape covering the electrical connections. Slide your new alternator into place. Again, just be patient and wiggle it around until it goes into place. Now with our partner holding the alternator on top, we go ahead and install one of the bolts from the bottom. This is the higher bolt. Then we'll install the lower bolt. Again, using our 1/2" drive and 50mm socket, we're going to go ahead and tighten up the bolts. Then we're going to move to the top and put the top bolt into place. Start it as much as we can by hand, and then we'll use our 15mm box end open end wrench to go ahead and tighten it up. Again, we're just tightening up some of the bolts. We didn't tighten up that second bolt. We were on the bottom the first time. Then we're going to place our dipstick tube back into the oil pan. And to line up our bolt hole with the hole in the block. Insert the bolt. Again, using our 13mm box end wrench, we're going to tighten it up. As I said, if with the oil filter removed, it'll make it a lot easier to get to. So it'll be a good time to change your oil if you need to. And also, we're going to tighten up the upper bolt holding the dipstick tube in place. We're going to reconnect our wiring harness using this plastic clip. Reinstall our spark plug wire. Then we're going to reinstall our electrical connections onto the alternator. Slide this over the stud in the alternator. Stick the new nut on it and tighten it up using our 13mm socket and ratchet. Be careful not to over tighten. Now this is a view from the bottom, but we're actually reaching it from the top, and we're installing our wiring harness. Now we need to go ahead and put our belt back on. You notice we left our serpentine belt in place pretty much, so now we're going to use our 19mm or 3/4 ratchet to release the tension, slide the belt back over the alternator. Then we're going to slide our plastic shield into place using our new plastic fasteners. We'll snap them in, and then we're going to use our 10mm socket and ratchet to tighten up the bolt. Let's go ahead and make sure all the plastic fasteners are seated. We're going to jack the vehicle up and remove the jack stand. Slide the jack stand out, lower the vehicle, reconnect the negative battery cable, and tighten it up with our 10mm socket and ratchet. Remove our wheel chocks.
Well, we hope this video will help you change the alternator in your 2002 Dodge Grand Caravan Sport.
Send any comments you may have to comments@teachmeall.com. And as always, thank you for visiting teachmeall.com and have a great day.